my own. As the sun lengthens our shadows, and this new place I call my home, where we bless the light when it comes.
Speak to the mariners! Fall to it, Yarly, or we run ourselves aground! Bestir! Bestir!
Aye, my hearts! Cheerly, my hearts! You're taking the topsail. Tend to the master's whistle. Blow till thou burst thy wind, if room enough.
Good boatswain, have care. Where's the master?
I pray now, keep below.
Where is the master, boatswain?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor, keep your cabins. You do assist the storm.
Nay, good, be patient.
When the sea is, hence, what cares these roarers for the name of the king? To cabin, silence, trouble us not.
Good fellow, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I more love than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long, and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it so hap. Cheerly, good hearts! Out of the way, I say.
Oh, I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he has no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is pure gallows. Oh, if he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast. Yar, lower. Bring her to try with the main course. A plague upon this howling. They're louder than the weather or our office. Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
A pox on your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, uncharitable dog!
Hang cur! Hang you hoarse and insolent noisemaker! We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
I warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell, and as leaky as an unstanched wench.
Oh, lay her a hold! A hold! Set her 2 courses off to sea again. Lay her off!
All lost! To prayers! To prayers! All lost!
What, must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince in prayers. Oh, let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
We are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards. This wide-chapped rascal. Without my sly drowning, the washing of 10 tides.
And yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at widest to blood, they cry within, mercy on us! We split! Farewell, we split!
Let's all sink with the king.
Let's take leave of him.
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground. Long heath, brown shrub, anything. All the wills above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
You've put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea mounting to the welcome cheek dashes water. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer, a brave vessel who had, no doubt, some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my poor heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should, the good ship to have swallowed the frightening souls within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm! I have done nothing but in care of thee. Thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, full master of a poor cell, and I no greater father.
More to know that you can never meddle with my thoughts.
This time I should inform thee farther. And thy hand plucked my magic garment from me. So, lie there, my art. Quite thou thine eyes. The dire spectacle of the wreck, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine arm, so safely ordered, that there is no soul, no, not so much provision as a hair, into any creature on the ship which thou didst prize, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must know farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stop.
The hour is now come. The very minute bids thee ope thine ear. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto the cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can. 'Tis far off and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women that attended me?
Oh, thou hadst and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward of the bosom of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayest.
But that I
12 years since, Miranda. 12 years since thy father was Duke of Milan.
Sir, are you not my father?
Mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter, and thy father was Duke of Milan, and thou his only heir, and princess no worse issue.
Oh, the heavens, what foul play had we that we came there from thence? Or best, what good?
Both, my girl. My foul play, as thou sayest, when we heave thence, but blessedly come hither.
My heart bleeds to think of the team that I have turned into, which is from my remembrance. Please, sir, farther.
My sister and thy aunt, called Antonia, I pray thee, mark. My sister, so perfidious, she, who next thyself of all the world I loved, and to her put the manage of my state. The government I cast upon my sister. To my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false aunt, dost thou attend me?
Sir, most chiefly.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else new formed them. Having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts of the state to what tune pleased her ear. Thou attendst not.
Oh, good sir, I do.
Pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and bettering of my mind with that which, but by being so retired, or prized or popular fate. My false sister awaked an evil nature. My trust, like a good parent, did beget of her a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which indeed had no limit, a confidence sans bound. She, thus being rewarded, made such a sinner of my memory. Credit her own lie, she did believe she was indeed the Duke. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part she played and him she played it for, she needs was the absolute Milan. Poor man, my library was dukedom enough. Temporal royalty she now thinks me incapable. Mark her condition in the event, and then tell me if this might be assisted.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne that offspring.
Now the condition. The King of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my sister's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently exit the degree of mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors on my sister. On a treacherous army levied, one midnight fated to the purpose, did Antonia open the gates of Milan. And in the dead of darkness, the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self.
Lack for pity. I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it over again. It is a hint that brings mine eyes to it.
We're a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now is upon us, without the which this story were most imperfect.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Demanded which. My tale provokes that question. Dear they durst not, so dear the love my people bore me. In few they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a boat, not rigged, tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively acquitted. There they hoist us, and cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds whose pity, sighing back again, did us but lovingly.
What trouble was I going to you?
Cherubim, thou wast the one who served me. Thou didst smile infused with fortitude from heaven, when I had decked the sea with drops full salt under my burden groan, which raised in me undergoing stomach, to bear up against what would ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had, some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan Gonzala, out of her charity, being then appointed master of this design, would give us, with rich garments, linen, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steaded much. And, of her gentleness, knowing I loved my books, she furnished me for mine own library with volumes that I prize above my duty.
But I might but ever see that soul.
Now I arise. Sit still and hear the last of this sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, who would be more proper than other princesses can, that have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Heavens, thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm?
No, thus far forth. By accident most strange, bountiful fortune, thou, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. By my prescience I find my zenith doth depend on a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, will omit, and my fortunes will ever after prove. Here cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness. Give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Now come away, my
servant, come. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
All hail, great master. Great sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds. To thy strong bidding, task Ariel and all her quality.
Hast thou spirit performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship. Now on the beak, on the deck, the waist, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. The topmast, yards, and bowsprit I would flame distinctly and then meet and join. Jove's lightnings, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. And the fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who is so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul, but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged into the foaming brine and quit the vessel, and then all the fire with me. Oh, the king's son, Ferdinand, was the first that leaped, cried, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here."
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments not a blemish, but fresher than before. And, as thou badest me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son I have landed by himself, cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, his arms in this sad knot. Safely in harbor is the king's ship, the mariners all under hatches stowed. And as for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they are now met again and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples. supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What's the time of day?
Past the mid-season.
These 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember me what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, moody? What is thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
Prithee, let me remember thee. I have done worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakings. I served without grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
I do not, sir.
Thou hast. Oh, is she so? I must once a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgettest. Is this not true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was brought hither with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, was then her servant. And, for thou was the spirit too delicate to act her earthy and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine me, by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years. Within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the sun she did litter here, a freckled whelp hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so, that Caliban whom now I keep in service. Thou best knowst what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl and penetrate the breasts of ever angry bears. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
And I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurst, I will rend an oak and peg thee in its knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spiriting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days I will discharge thee.
Now that's my good master! Oh, what shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
I'll shake it off. Come on, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, sir. I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho, slave, Caliban? Thou earth, thou, speak.
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say. There's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise, when? Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam. Come forth.
As wicked as ever. My mother brushed with raven's feather. From unwholesome fen. Drop on you both. A southwest blow on ye. And blister you all over.
For this, be sure tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine, by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou strokest me, and made much of me. Would thou give me waters with berry in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, that burn by day and night. And had I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs, brine pits, barren places, and fertile. Cursed be that I did so.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Wouldn't have been done, thou did prevent me. I had people out, the isle, with Calibans.
Abhorred slave, which any print of goodness wilt not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other. But thy vile race, though thou didst learn, had that in which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined unto this rock, who deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and I profit on it, as I know how to curse. The Red Plague, rid you for learning me your language.
Hag seed hence! Fetch us in fuel, and be quick thou art best to answer other business. Shrugg'st thou, malice? If thou neglect'st or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee, I must obey. His art is of such power, it will control my damned god, Setibos, and make a vassal out of him.
So, slave, hence!
Come unto these yellow sands, and then take hands. Curtsied when you have kissed, the wild waves whist, footed feetly here and there, and sweet sprites the burthen bear.
Where should this music be? The air or the earth? It sounds no more. Sure, it waits upon some god of the island. Sitting on a bank, weeping again, king my father's wreck. The music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather, but 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of them that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtain of thine eyes advance, and say what thou seest yon.
What is it, a spirit?
No, wench. It eats and sleeps, and hath such senses as we have such. This gallant which thou seest was in the wreck, and but he's something stained with grief, which is beauty's canker, thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw. So noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit finds spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure, the goddess on whom these airs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer, and may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is... you wonder if you be maid or not.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, heavens! I am the best of them that speak this speech. Were I but where 'tis spoken.
How? The best? What wert thou if the king of Naples heard thee?
A single thing, as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep, myself am Naples, who with mine eyes, never since at ebb, beheld the king my father's wreck.
Lack for mercy.
Yes, faith and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee if now 'twere fit to do it. At the first sight they had changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my father so urgently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity moved my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. They are both in either's powers, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on't.
No, as I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple.
Follow me, and speak not you for him. He's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots, and husks wherein the acorn cradled. Follow!
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What? I say my foot, my tutor? Put up thy sword, traitor, who makest the show, but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so riddled with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hence, hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity, I'll be a surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor? Hush. Thou thinkst there is no more such shapes than he, having seen but him in Caliban? Foolish wench. To the most of men, this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections, then, are the most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wreck of all my friends, nor this man's threats, to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison, once a day, behold this maid. All corners else of the earth, let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
Works. Come on. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark what thou else shalt do me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir. Then he appears by speech. This is unwonted which now came from him.
Thou shalt be free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.